Hey, so today, I guess, as a father, a husband, a brother, nephew, son, but most of all, a follower of Christ who wants to be a net positive for the world. But more importantly, he's someone who has a story worth hearing. Welcome to the Cauliflower Chronicles. All right, today our guest is going to be Branton Henry Sr. So for the people meeting you for the first time, who is Branton Henry beyond the uniform and the rank?
A goofball who can't stay out of trouble and loves every second of every day. I'll tell you that much.
That's awesome. So you're a U.S. Army captain currently from Ohio. Here, currently stationed at JBLM. You got 16 years of service, prior enlisted, a couple MOSs, which we'll get into. But I don't really want to ever keep everything all military, right? Because I don't want to keep this as a military podcast. I never designed it that way. I just want to take lessons that we've learned throughout our time in the military and, why it's brought us where we're at. One of the things you said to describe yourself was, I'm a God-fearing father, husband, brother who wants to leave the world better than I found it. It's funny you say that, great, because I think one of the things I've always told people is I just want to be a good Samaritan in the world and just do things for people so that when I leave, it's a better place.
Yeah.
So I kind of said it a different way. I think we all do that kind of in a different manner.
Absolutely. My biggest thing has always been like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to try to do it to the best of my ability. And if I'm going to, live this life or lead a life and I do well for myself, that's cool. I'll die. Who cares? At the end of the day, like I think the biggest mark of success on my life is going to be, when I'm 80 and I can sit there and have a cigar and an old fashioned with my son, his son, maybe even their son. And we're all sitting there. Of course, we'd all be of legal age and whatnot. But, we'll sit there and be able to say like, we are doing good for the future. We are doing good for the world in general. I don't want to just do for here and then be done. Like leave it better than I found. It's always been.
Yeah, I talked to my son about that too and talked to my wife and leaving the world. Like I would love that generational, like to sit down and I'm there, my son's there, my daughter's there and their son and my grandsons. And it's going to be like that generational, conversation picture. How do you feel when it comes to like people who say, I want to leave it better for my children when it comes to money, like monetarily? I feel that people are like, oh, I want to leave my son, $150,000 in investments that's now going to grow to multi-millions. And, I'm trying to build generational wealth for my family. What's your opinion on that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like nothing that I do for me now is going to, what's the song, country song? There's not a trailer hitch on a hearse. I don't know.
Yeah.
My wife listens to country and I hear that all the time. And I'm just like, that's deep, right? Yeah. You can't take it with you. So it's about what you do in this life for who it can go to next, right? So whether it's generational wealth, whether it's generational knowledge, whether it's removing generational trauma, right? I grew up food stamps, broke, the spanking stuff. We've had plenty of conversations on that and how, raising children, like what is it that I'm going to do to change or put that future generation into the best possible outcome? I always look at the Rockefeller fortune. Like they live off the interest. All right. The original Rockefeller got rich, and then the Rockefeller family since then is living off the interest because it's supposed to be generational. That's why the Vanderbilts aren't here anymore. I don't know. It's crazy stuff to me.
She every year wants to go see it at Christmas. I remember growing up and always hearing about the Vanderbilts, how awesome it was. Yeah, I think me now, 42, about to be 43 years old, coming to the end of my career in the military. Old guy.
We were just talking about you being an old guy.
Yeah, the old guy who's learning technology. I think I almost want to say that designate myself almost as a late bloomer at this point because I'm starting to learn that like generational wealth is something like, buying property and getting homes. And, it's not that, oh, I have the newest vehicle or I don't have that I'm buying everything in the world, even though I have become one of those people that's like, cry once, buy once kind of guy. I started going there a little more. My wife says that I have expensive hobbies. I told her, I think I just buy quality now. Yep. I've become that guy. When I remember I was a kid, I'd look up and, there's like this construction worker guy who's now like a project manager and he's got like a nice truck and, he buys like a nice gold watch and he's like, son, I'm buying this stuff because it's quality now and I can do this. I've worked 20 years to get here.
Yep.
I actually caught myself telling my wife that the other day.
Put the time in.
Yeah, she was like, yeah, she's like, you got these hobbies and you spend all this money. I'm like, yeah, well, I've spent 42 years on this earth to spend my money on my hobbies that I want. But I think one thing I've learned through my time now, I would say in the last like 10 years has been serious growth for me is that investing in generational wealth when it comes to property and houses and investment things you can do with for your kids, like building those different types of investments where it pays for their college, or maybe not just pay for their college, something that they can carry on, is something that I wish I would have done younger me.
Right.
But, I grew up in the Army where everybody was buying whatever they got off deployment.
Yes. That deployment money went far, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's like, I think, I don't know, I can go a couple different ways with that. That's so interesting to me. When I was young in the Army, right, I'd probably be a lot further ahead had I done a certain thing. But I got a lot of stories. I've done a lot of things, and I was real dumb with money, with, my time. And those stories make me who I am today, right? So I'm happy and all that stuff. But I do wish that I'd just been more reasonable with it. But you had said earlier about me being prior enlisted. I will say that they completely treat you different, that E1 through E4 and then that cadet time frame. The USAA, I think Navy Fed does it as well. Don't quote me on that one. I used USAA. But the career starter loan, had they given me the opportunity to do, I think it's $25,000 of just, it was like a 4% interest. It was extremely low interest coming out of college. Now, mind you, I came out of college at 26 or 27 because I was enlisted prior. But if I had just coming in 20 something days out of high school, been given $25,000 to start my life, start my career, I used it to rehab my mom's house. I think I bought a truck, a used truck, but bought a truck. I did some stuff with my money. For the officer side, they give us the kind of like kick in the butt. Hey, you can do certain things. I mean, we have conversations all the time. Like, my philosophy is when you come in the Army, you should leave with three things. You should leave with a little bit of education. You should leave with a little bit of money in your pocket. And you should leave with a pretty decent credit score, because what else are you doing? Like, if you're going to be serious about it, I don't care if you come in, you make it to whatever rank it is you want to make it to, and then you sit there until the end. You should be able to save a little bit of cash, and they give you an education for free. You're a sitting first sergeant,
Yeah.
and you're about to be at your third degree as a first sergeant, right?
Yeah.
But private says, oh, I'm too busy, my guy.
Yeah.
I've lived in the barracks. Come on, my guy.
Yeah.
Right. I used the Army to pay for, like, I was that guy in the barracks saying I was too busy, but, I was working on my degree slowly. Then I used my benefits when I got out and went to the Guard to get my degree. Like, there are so many opportunities and options out there. And I know this isn't an Army focused monologue or anything, but like, that's the beauty of being able to start that generational wealth. It all comes back to me. I get lost in the conversation, but that generational wealth can start with people joining the military for the right reasons, and I don't know.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I said, I've been a late bloomer now. I've noticed that. And so I'm going to probably taught my kid when he gets and moving, I like, you don't be like your dad. I'm a late bloomer. But I mean, and I've gotten, you brought up my degree. I'm about to finish my MBA. I did my associates in business. I did my bachelor's in business. I'm 4 classes out of getting my MBA, a master's in business administration. Now I've done, mind you, I've done all that since 2021, so
yes.
in the latter part of my career, I've realized that like I stumbled a little bit early and then now I need to go forward. And I think, me and it's military for us, but I think everybody in life understands that like there's opportunities in every job you do, right?
Absolutely.
Like, my wife was working for a company called Baycare, a hospital right in Florida. And one of the things with them is
that's
after
what she's
a year.
Going back to, right?
Yeah, she's supposed to go back there. So once you're there for a year, you've done your probation, they offer to pay for nursing school. And then they bring you back and they'll pay for your entire nursing school, bring you back as a nurse, and you work for them for, 3 or 4 years. You owe them time.
Like, it's like an ADSO for us, right? Yeah. You got a service obligation and then you go do what you want with it. I love that.
Yeah. So like, it's not just the military that adds these kind of benefits, right? It's civilian world and employers. I mean, everybody from like Chick-fil-A will pay for a college for their, teen employees coming up. I know Starbucks does some stuff when it comes to that kind of thing.
I mean, I can never work for Walmart again. We can get into that story if you want to, but like Walmart was offering benefits out there. And I was like, people dog on Walmart. Those guys make good money. You got to spend a little bit of time. You might be pushing carts for a while. I don't know. Nobody want to do that, on the day after Thanksgiving. But like, if you go into any job, career field, and think about how can I better myself? How can I better my future generations from where I am right now? Bro, it's a win. It's too easy. Like, to me, life is easy. Figure out how to be better and then try to do that. Yeah. And have fun while doing it.
Every day, right? They say make yourself better every day. What was it? Be 1% better than you were the day before.
Yep.
I think if we keep those mindsets, man, what would be great. Funny story. I worked for Sam's Club before I came in the Army. I'll never have told you that. But
I did not know that.
I started cleaning out the ovens in the bakery. The big ovens. Someone used to clean them at night. And then when I started at 17, at 18, you could work in the tire shop with the cars.
Okay.
So that's where I ended up in the tire section. Yep. And then I worked there for a while and then I joined the military. But yeah, I worked for Sam's Club. So it's all like the same, right? Sam Walton owns
Yep.
Walmart, Sam's Club. So a little thing there. But one of the things, right, is we talked about your enlisted, you were enlisted, came officer. And I don't know if we bring it up on the podcast, but I think we talk about resiliency, right? How did you become from enlisted to there, right?
Brother.
I think it's a great story, and I do know it. I just want the listeners to understand it. And I don't think it's a bad story. I think it's a story that people can take and understand that, like, you can overcome anything.
Absolutely.
And before we get into it, the thing with this particular story is that people, when you hear the story, everybody hears stories and are like, your career's over.
Mm-hmm.
My God, you did such a bad thing.
Yep.
But I'm going to let you, I think we should definitely talk about it if you're okay with it.
Oh yeah, I talk about it all the time, right?
Yeah, I know sometimes people, especially on the officer side of the world, they want to make sure that they want to
squeaky clean.
Yeah, squeaky clean, right? But I think people learn from the past, right? So when we get to the story, and I want you to tell it in detail because, we talk about DUIs, and that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Everybody's first immediate thing is, I got in a car.
It'll be at least 2 hours before I drive after drinking this.
But they, I got in a car and I ran over a granny. No, not everybody did, man. Not everybody got in a car and drove up to the front gate of wherever. Nobody was swerving down the road and got a DUI checkpoint, right? So I think it's a story to tell, right? So you were enlisted. We crossed paths many times when you were enlisted. We didn't know. After conversations, got some unfortunate event. You ended up getting a DUI in South Korea.
Yep.
I'll let you tell details on that one. And I think your mindset or our conversations is what really intrigued me to have you on, was like how you were talking about, like, I knew this was coming and you took the steps to like make yourself successful. Now, mind you, you are a father and a husband, right? So you're married, you have 3 children.
3. Yeah.
And you had how many children when this incident happened?
1 at the time. He was born May 9th and I went to Korea my first time for, I think it was June 30th, something like that. Yeah. So shortly after him being born, I went over there, and I guess I'll just get into the story.
Yeah,
I always say that, me getting so for those of you out there, Branton Alexander Henry Sr., thank you. I was charged with grand theft auto, DUI, larceny, resisting arrest, evading the police in South Korea on September 4th, 2015, and probably the best thing to ever happen to me, right? Like you were saying, people are always like, oh, you don't want to talk that. That's kind of crazy. You know, but my story led to where I am today. Had I not done all that, now, mind you, I got 3 Article 15s. Like I done did some stuff in my life, but I'd probably be senior sergeant, first class, junior master sergeant, and I would have just be done. I would have never went to college. I probably might have ended up marrying my now wife, but wouldn't have had more kids. Like wouldn't have the life that I have today. My story starts, for those of you who were a little bit older in Korea, GO1, General Order Number 1 means, you can't, North Korea is doing something crazy. And because they're doing something crazy, South Korea, or the U.S. Army soldiers in South Korea, have to stop, and we're always in uniform. We can't leave post for, longer than whatever. You have to have no alcohol, craziness, right? That happens. Towards the end of that GO1 time, which I think was about 2 weeks, we go into starting our green cycle training, which means that we're going to go do the combat job of, whatever it is. So we go out there, we get to the very end of that, and that's another 3 weeks. So I'm at over a month now, in the prime of my life, 22, 23 years old. No alcohol in South Korea, U.S. Army soldier.
Unheard of.
Unheard of. They tell me you can have 2 drinks tonight. That's it. Okay, 2. So I go back to, the barracks, right? Because they release it like noon. Problem number 1. Yeah. Noon going, because September 4th, I don't remember what holiday that is, but it was going into a 4-day weekend. And I remember my buddy, I won't say names because he's doing great things in the Army right now, but he was like, hey, you want to go out tonight? I was like, yeah, I'm going to start drinking right now. Maybe 1,300. I get a pitcher, like like lemonade, like what you would do. And I put 3 of these worth of soju and then a bunch of Tang, and I get lit.
Now, mind you, soju is the invisible devil. It is a cheap, I'd say cheap.
Rice wine.
It's a rice wine, but it's cheap. It's cheap.
About this big is what, 79 won?
Yeah. It's like 40 US cents or something.
Yes.
Yeah. So now, mind you, this one bottle for, roughly 40 cents to 70 cents will get you about as drunk as a $70 bottle of Jack Daniels. So
instantly. So I'm tanked. I fall asleep, wake up, probably like 6 p.m., 7 p.m., right? And mind you, I'm team leader at this point. I'm promotable. Like, I'm about to get corporal back. That was from the second Article 15. But I'm about to get corporal back again. And, I'm doing the right things. Like, I would have made the list that following, I think, October. I would have made the list that month when points had come down. But it's me, my squad leader, another squad leader, the 2 other team leaders in my squad, another squad leader from the other squad, 2 desk sergeants from Camp Red Cloud. We say, hey, let's go out, right? And I still got a little buzz, but I'm good. I go and I get 2 bottles of soju. It was our tradition. We would get 2 bottles of soju. We would take them to the head, and then we would go. I was like, yeah, let's do this. I get like halfway down. I was like, oh, right. And then I stop. I give it to it. There was a homeless guy sitting on the bench in Ouijanbu over by the horse statue. I give him that bottle of soju, and I was like, hey man, I'm gonna chill out. I'm gonna do a little bit of things. So, long story short, in Korea, we got what's called hub bars, where everybody hangs out at this bar, but like 2 or 3 people want to see something else, so they go out to this bar, but they're always going to come back to that, right? And that was Mia Bar for us. So we're going to Mia Bar, and I said, hey man, I heard of this new bar. Do you remember the bar that had the Captain Morgan?
Yes.
I think because you were telling me a story about something. Was that the one where your shirt got ripped off?
Yes. Yeah.
There was this giant, taller than me captain or pirate thing.
Yep.
I remember going down there, and like, I'm in a bathroom or something, and I come back out, and there's a girl that I'd always seen on Camp Stanley. She looks at me. She's like, hey, man, you want to smoke? I was like, yeah, man, I smoke cigarettes. I'm drinking right now. I don't care what it is. She pulled out a Black and Mild, soft tip wine Black and Mild. I still to this day think I was drugged. But it doesn't matter. I made the decision to smoke this, not knowing this person very well. I hit this Black amount, and that's the last coherent memory that I have. Everything else that I'm about to tell you is either from the perspective of someone else, off of CCTV, or in the police report.
So, public service announcement: don't get Black and Milds from the side of the street.
Yes.
There's your life tip number 1.
Bring your own Black and Milds.
Bring
all right?
your own Black and Milds.
So,
attractive ladies with Black and Milds probably never works out.
It definitely didn't. So I remember going back to Mia Bar, and I won't say her name, but she was my soldier at the time. And I think she had to be like 19. She was in there, and she was throwing darts with my squad leader. And I remember going in there, and I was, mind you, now I'm acting crazy, apparently. They tell me that I go in there, and I'm like, hey, you're drunk. What are you doing in here? She's like, I'm not drunk. I'm hanging out. Like, I'm with the squad leader. Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, no, I know you're in here drinking. And they're like, hey, Henry, calm down. You're acting stupid. What's going on? And I was like, you think I'm acting stupid? What? So they start to try to kick me out, being battle buddies.
Yeah.
And that's why I always say, like, just because we say always go out with your battle buddy doesn't mean you're not still going to do some dumb stuff. Just be smart about the dumb stuff you do. So, yeah. So they're like, hey, man, you need to leave. And I was like, you want me to leave? I ain't going nowhere. And in Korea, they had they'd either have peanuts or like popcorn on the bar.
Yes.
Grab the popcorn and I stuff it down my pants. I ain't going nowhere. I don't know why I did it to this day. No idea why I have a pants full of popcorn.
Popcorn didn't do nothing to you.
Didn't do nothing to me. Correct. So I just sprint outside. And my buddy, whose name I will not mention, he paid for my stuff upstairs. But I got mad, ran down the steps, and then the soldier ran down after me because apparently that's how it works. Where she had to console me. She was crying. It was a whole thing. I keep hitting this mic.
No, you're good.
Okay. So I'm downstairs, and by the time my buddy gets down there, he told me he walked out, and I was standing on the hood of a Jeep. My shirt was half off, right? Mind you, I was in better shape than I am now. Shirt was half off. I had Timberlands on, and I'm just talking about how, whatever I'll say. I was like, Barack Obama ain't do shit for black people.
Okay.
Right? Why am I having this conversation in South Korea, drunk? Like, nobody knows, but I'm going off. And yeah, so he pulls me down and was like, hey, man, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, you're acting crazy. And I said, or apparently I tell him, like, this isn't me. Like, everybody's out to get me, whatever. He's like, hey, man, we need to go. So we start walking. And from Mia Bar to that taxi stand right by the horse statue.
Yeah, the one everybody gets a taxi back to.
Because I was on Stanley.
Oh, you were on
so
Stanley,
they loved giving us rides because we were right there.
You were
back.
closer. Yeah.
Casey, they had to stay up there. I had maybe a football field, I'd say, from where Mia Bar was to where I needed to go. And the rest of the story happens within that football field. So we start walking. And they got the Korean barbecues and whatnot, and they had the window. And he says that we walk in, and I just stop. And I was like, he said, what are you doing? And I was like, them bitches looking at me. And he's like, who's looking at you? What are you talking about? I was like, them bitches over there, they looking at me. I think they want me. And he said, I just took off. And I just walk right into this thing, right? And I walk in, I go past the host, I turn the chair around, I sit down, I'm trying to talk to these girls, and they're acting like they don't understand English. And apparently I get mad, so I snatch all the chicken off the little plate at the barbecue thing. And I was like, this is my chicken now. Y'all ain't getting nothing tonight. Y'all ain't getting nothing, right? Going ham. So he pulls me out. He's got to stop the host from fighting me. And he slaps me in the face. I don't remember him slapping me in the face because we would still fight every time I think about it. But he says he slapped me in the face. And he was like, hey, man, you need to calm down. So, we go down the street a little bit further. There's the coffee shop right there. And I'm like, hey man, I smell the coffee. Like, let's go in here. Let me try to sober up. And he's like, yeah, bet, too easy. So I order, boom, boom, boom. I step off to the side. He says he orders, and then he turned around after he, paid for his stuff, and I was nowhere to be found. And then he hears little Korean man just yelling, and he didn't know what the guy was saying, but he knew he was cussing. So he comes around the little, I won't say like hallway, but it's like a short hallway. And he says that I'm just sitting there in this man's kitchen on his bread, ripping the packs open, and I'm just stuffing my face. And I'm like, just leave me here. No, I'm going to die here. No, just leave me. Oh, no. Didn't get my coffee. Long story short there, right? So they throw me, he pulls me out, but that guy was trying to throw me out of the thing. And so I get outside, and John, I can say his first name. I'll say his first name. So John is pissed off. John's like, hey, and mind you, like, he got in the Army, I think, a year after me. Yeah. And he's already a frocked first sergeant. Like, so 15 years, he's a first sergeant frock. He's doing well. Yeah. But we knew that, like, yeah, we were doing things at the time. Like, we were going places, and I was about to ruin everybody's career this one night. And yeah, so we go from there to I'm outside now, and he just shakes me and is like, hey man, you're about to mess everything up for both of us. Figure your life out. And I guess at this point, I stop and I say, yeah, man, you're right. And I remember this one like vividly. I look right across the street and I see white Nissan Altima, and I was like, I'm gonna take a taxi. I'm gonna be back at the thing. Y'all ain't gotta worry about me. So I just start walking. Boom, boom. I get in. Hey, my name's Branton, or my name's Henry. Here's my CAC, or maybe I gave him my car. I don't remember. I gave him something, and I was like, take me to Camp Stanley, drop me off at the police station. I'll walk to my barracks from there. Bali Bali. I fell asleep. No. I felt like I was asleep for hours. And I remember waking up. And this is why this goes back to me thinking I was drugged, because I was laid down in this thing and like my heart rate was slowing down. I think something had to happen, because I have that vivid memory. Like, I remember looking at this dude dead in the face, because I hear like, Henry, hey man, what you doing? And I open my eyes. I'm in the back of this Nissan Altima. And I was like looking around, and I looked the driver dead in the face, and I was like, it's the best dressed taxi driver I've ever seen in my life. And he says in the best English, I'm not going to say the part, but he says, he drops the hard N-word. All right. He's like, the fuck you doing? Best English I've ever heard. And I said, you can't call me that. The door rips open. My buddies all rip me out. And they're like, it was a local Nationals car. It was not a taxi. And I was like, oh no. So apparently we continue to walk from there. And that's when it goes to, there's like, in the CCTV footage, it's me and Corporal Smith right next to each other. And then the next frame, it's Corporal Smith just a little bit further ahead of me. And I'm standing here looking at a motorcycle, or like a moped. And then the next frame, he's got his hand up, and I'm like this, like cheesing at this moped. And the next one, he's like, and I'm on the moped, front wheels up. Like, oh,
you're bringing back biker boys.
Yes. I didn't stole a moped.
Oh man.
I remember this part as well. So apparently I crashed into a hot dog stand in Uijeonbu. They gave me crap for that for the rest of the time I was in Korea, right? But I crashed into that hot dog stand and run. And I remember running. I remember like kind of coming to while I'm running. And I was thinking to myself, damn, I'm about to go back to BLC. And I'm running real good right now. Like, I ain't fatigued at all. And I got Tim's on. This is going to be great. And then I hear behind me again, I hear, Henry. I turn around, and this Korean man's saying, Henry. Well, I was like, oh, Henry, nice to meet you. Handcuff. You trying to kidnap me. You trying to kidnap me. So I start fighting, right? I'm whooping his ass. Then his friend jumped in. I said, oh, they gonna jump me? And I start whooping his ass. And then about 6 more of his friends, and I don't know, they hit me. Ow, ow. The KMP is whooping my behind. Korean National Police, for anybody who doesn't know what KMP is, are whooping my behind. And yeah, so next thing I know, I'm in the back of a police car, and they'll say something in Korean, point it to me, and it just says in English, you have the right to remain silent. And I was like, oh no, what is going on? So, fast forward, I wake up the next morning, right? I don't know what's going on. The place looks familiar, but I don't know where or why I'm here. And I've got no shoes on. There's like benches along the walls, but they're real close together. And I wake up and I look across the thing, and this guy's just staring at me. Like, he's closer to me than you are right now. And he's just like saying something in Korean. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I look and I see the dude with the badge, and I was like, hey,
oh man,
sir, what's going on? And he was like, oh, I'm not going to do the accent. He was like, well, you stole a moped last night. And I was like, I'm not a thief. And he was like, okay, but you stole the moped. And then you tried to fight the MPs or KMPs when we caught you. And I was like, why is that guy mad at me? Because you stole his moped. And I was like, oh, this is wild. So, I'm thinking about it a little more. There's a 30-minute conversation in and of itself about me having to use the little open bay toilet that they have in there, because they took my shoes. I'm a germaphobe. My foot gets wet. It's a whole thing, right? So while I'm doing, all my business. I'm thinking to myself, I was like, okay, I'm not a thief, but he says that I stole a moped. At least that's a logical. Why is that guy, the dude who's mad at me, why is he in here? If he got robbed back over there, sir, question, what's going on here? And he was like, oh, what? He was drunk and he was riding on his moped and he ran over a lady. And when he ran over the lady, we went over there to stop him and get him because he was DUI. And then you walked up to that moped, got on and ran away, crashed into a hot dog stand, fought us. And then apparently I tried to piss on the walls while I was in, not like our boy,
one, yeah,
not like that guy,
not like that
but
guy.
apparently I tried to piss on the wall while I was in the, in lockup throughout the night. But I laugh and I joke about the story now. It's 2026 when we talk the story right here.
Yeah.
This happened 11 years ago.
Yeah.
But I think what is so important about the story is when it all came to, I realized, I said, I have a son and one day he could be in the army. And if he's in the army and does whatever the hell I just did last night, what am I going to say to him? I need to be the man that he can look at. And when I was in the army, this is how it was for me. And he can take a story from me. Me telling him this story, like, so now I know. So I realized they're going to kick me out of the army. I realized, hey, this probably ain't going to go well for me, whatever. Long story short, I ended up talking to the acting battalion commander at the time. And he was like, hey, this doesn't seem like, what your character is, but it's reported to the Pentagon. Like, I can't not do anything. Like, we got to demote you. So they demote me to PFC. I end up RCPing as a PFC at 5 years. Kind of embarrassing, but from that day I was like, I'm gonna make something of myself. Like I'm not gonna let my goals fall to the side. From there I go to Austin P, right outside of Campbell, because my wife was still in the army. She was at Campbell. I see some nerds running in PTs, and I was like, what are you guys doing? And they was like, oh, we're ROTC. And I was like, what's ROTC? Next thing you know, I ended up transferring to Ohio State using my GI Bill. I'm at Ohio State. I joined the ROTC there. I get back into the army as a second lieutenant. COVID was happening, so I ended up moving my wife in with my sister while she's living with my sister. Now my sister can focus her money on things she needs to do to get out of debt because I'm getting BH. Who cares? Like they're paying me either way. So I'm like, with all of that stuff, my degrees, the additional children that just keep showing up, they're mine. I know it. They look like me, but they just keep showing up. Helping my sister get out of some debt, getting her life straight, and because she's good now. All of that comes from me getting a DUI.
Yeah.
Best thing to happen to me in my life.
I think Grand Theft Auto might have came from that story too.
I mean, that definitely did. That definitely did.
So I started saying, like not all DUIs is you get behind the wheel and you hit some grandma and there's this critical story if you kill somebody. I mean, you did a wheelie on a moped and hit a Korean hot dog stand.
They said I went 10 meters.
10 meters.
I went 10 meters, crashed it, and that's what my DUI was.
You were definitely, you were bringing back biker boys. 10 meters, probably, wheel at 12 o'clock and you hit the wiener stand. I like it. Yeah. It's an amazing story, man. I've been in the Army 21 years myself. Been around a lot of people, a lot of leaders, and you get this common denominator, leaders out there who are like, I've had this pristine record. I'm a war hero. Like, this is, your values are here, army values. You live by your army values. And it's like, you're great because you read a manual. You're great because you stood straight on the line your whole life. But like, what do you do when this kid that grew up in a society you didn't comes to you and says, hey man, like, I grew up in a house where I didn't have any food. I had to rob people to live. Like, you can't relate, man.
No.
And I'm not saying you go out there and get DUI. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying,
or rob people. Okay.
What I'm saying
is
that I think that we, like leaders in the world, period, right? Army, wherever you're at, it's okay to have a flaw. It's okay to be, your story is, to me, your story is like peak of resiliency, right? The resiliency, you bounce back. Like, we go through that master resiliency course in the Army that went away. And they always say this thing, like, right? be a ball, don't be an egg. You want to bounce back. You don't want to crack and leak everywhere. And I think when young people in the Army do dumb things, and I don't want to just say to you why, but I just say dumb things, right? Things that aren't by the Army values, as they say, or, things that might not be normally illegal in the world. They're illegal in the military, right? And it's something we all have to go by and do what we're supposed to, but not everybody understands that world, and then they get in trouble. And it's like, leaders out there want to just crush them.
Crucify them.
Just get rid of them.
And we're in the MP Corps, man. Like, we eat our own. Like, I think that's really the adage. And this doesn't mean knocking the ethos of that. Like, I believe police should hold a higher standard. I believe police in the military should hold a higher standard in the military. But I also believe the military should hold a higher standard. So you should be that the cream of the crop, right? Like, you should have that standard. But it just so happens that I was able to come back.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who, my first sergeant at the time, like when I first got in trouble, he was known You can ask. I'll tell you his name after this. You could ask anybody who knows him, and the dude was, and he would bark, and he was a yeller, and I'll smoke you, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But when I got in trouble, I remember having to go to his office. And the whole time, because we were going from Stanley to Casey, because that's where the company was. I remember the whole time my platoon sergeant, he's like, hey man, like, yeah, you understand he's gonna, he's gonna push your shit in, like life's gonna suck, and he said, maintain your bearing, like be professional. So I go in this thing ready to get punched in the chest, and I go in there, and he's like, hey, sit down. I was like, yes, sir, son. You understand you messed up? Yes, sir, son. He said, you understand I could yell, smoke you, do all that stuff, but it's not gonna change nothing. You messed up.
Yep.
You need to figure out how to be better. And I was like, God damn. And I think being prepared for that punch in the chest, and then getting a fatherly lecture. Yeah. I met my dad when I was.
Yeah.
It's ghetto whenever you have to meet your dad, just in general, but like, I met my dad when I was older. So like to have that fatherly, first sergeant say, hey dude, you messed up. Are you going to come back from this? Are you going to figure your life out? It's not going to be in the Army, but are you going to figure your life out as an MP, all that stuff? I was like, damn dude. And then my commander, like, she went to bat for me.
Yeah.
Major, I think she is. I don't want to say her name. Commander of that time, if you see this, like, I have so much love and respect for you. Like, yes, when you're a battalion commander, please have me on your staff. Like, yes, please.
That's good, man. That's good. I think you said it's ghetto, meet your father later in life. I met my father later in life too. I was adopted, and my dad's Puerto Rican, but I didn't, when I did meet him, I didn't understand anything he said. And he had like 7 kids also besides me I didn't know about, and I met him. It's kind of a weird situation, but I met him later in life, and I couldn't even understand him. But outside of that, I think I think it's good. I think the thing is, and I love that story, and I think it's something that is unique, is the fact that you went through this, which most of the Army thinks is this traumatic event, which it is. It is. It's a traumatic event. It changes a life. But you went through this event, and then you were able to bounce back, take the things that you were able to do with a family, and still succeed. Now you're 15 years, 16 years?
Yeah, 15.
15 years in the Army, a captain, company commander, current company commander for a very successful company. Not just saying that because I'm the first sergeant, but
hey. I know this guy in real life.
It's I think we've taken and done some amazing things, and I think we've grown some amazing people, right? But understanding that story and understanding that you've been there is something that nobody will ever have, no matter what leader you are in the Army, right? At every echelon, it's like you have one thing that they'll never have, and that's real life experience of understanding what that event is and how that feels.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a prime enlisted, like, yes, sure, got it, love it. I was with the troops, Mustang, whatever they want to say it, right? Especially as a company commander now. You know who we've had and who we work with and all that stuff, right? There are people who come in and they're like, well, back when I was an NCO, listen, fam, does the Army pay you to think like an NCO? Stop doing NCO things. How about we plan? How about we forecast? How about we do the things that officers are paid to do, and don't care that you were a team leader however many years ago and all that, right? I absolutely love my past, because my past is what makes me who I am today. But in no way am I saying, like, just because I've been there, and I don't want anybody to think that what I'm saying is because I've been there that I'm trying to say, like, that's the route people should go all the time. Like, learn from my mistakes. Learn from the mistakes of others, right? Don't, if I've already paid the price, don't go behind me and try to pay it again. But we've sat in a few field grades and company grade Article 15s now, where whether I was the adjudicator or our boss was. Yeah. And the thing that I don't want to say enjoy, but let me use that word for now, enjoy about my experience, right? Because as the first sergeant, your job is, hey, dude, I literally have done what you were doing, and you were trying to get to where I am. Yeah. Let's go. My job is, hey, this is what the rules and regulations of the Army are. And this is where, in my limited scope as a company commander, this is where I think that you are or are not adjusting to that, right? And if I have to speak on behalf of a soldier to my boss, or if, I'm the adjudicator at the end of the day, like, these are the things that go through my mind.
100%, man. And I think that ability, though, right? So that event gave you different aspects of life, and it brought you in different paths and things like that. And shifting gears, though, you were probably the most charismatic commander I've ever met. I love it, though. It's awesome. It keeps the day going great. We've done some successful events together. Freedom Fest Fight Night was probably like, the highlight of the world.
That's got to be like the pinnacle of I'm a WWE guy through and through. Yeah. I enjoy combat sports in general. And then I was in theater as a kid. Like, I love performing.
And it was for you guys that have no idea what Freedom Fest Fight Night was. Please look it up. That's shameless plug right there. Yep. Freedom Fest Fight Night. It was JBLM. So we threw MMA fights. We put together an event for a big festival, celebrating the 250th anniversary of the
Of the
United
United
States.
States.
And, it was a thing that a lot of people were not, if they did not think it was going to be successful.
Right.
And
Man, I got so many comments.
nah,
I think everybody knew it was going to be
Mhm.
successful. I think that there are some people who thought that they were going to have to make it successful for us.
Yep.
And then I think that there were some people who said, hey, like these two, right? Because, and I want to give backstory, right? So you worked with our Corps Sergeant Major prior in your career, right?
Yep.
You'll probably have him as a guest on here
That would be
at some
great.
point,
So
right?
if you hear this, Sergeant Major, hey, let me know what your schedule looks like. I know you're busy.
Yep.
I'd love to have you on.
When you worked for him there, like you knew what he wanted.
Yeah.
And he said, hey man, you're gonna do that same thing over here. All right. But now he's a Corps Sergeant Major. He's not working at a division or a brigade staff anymore, or brigade SEL.
Yeah.
Right. So you came in and you were like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. And all you said to me was, hey dude, I don't know this Corps, because you had just gotten here.
Yeah.
And you said, I also don't do con ops. And I said, I worked at Corps and I do con ops. That's what I do, right? And you pulled me in, and I am so thankful that you did that, right? That you afforded me that opportunity to be able to do that. And your whole thing was like, hey man, we're going to be successful or we're going to fail, but we're going to do it together. And I don't think that there was a single soul in the world who thought that they weren't going to at least get a show.
Facts. They were getting a show. They just didn't know how.
Everybody knew there would at least be a show. But I think, like you were saying, I think we blew that out of the water. And if you're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, anything like that, please, Freedom Fest, America 250, Freedom 250, 2026. Right? Remember that, because if you're watching this in the future.
So the show, we spent 4 or 5 months planning different echelons.
February. So I did that first con op for the IPR in February.
Yeah, and I mean, we went through. And, we learning lessons, man. We did everything, did safety briefs and how things are going to work out, getting fighters, pulling people in, finding out who could spend money, not spend money. Boy, let me tell you, trying to get money out of the government is wild. I didn't know. I worry about my own bank account. These dudes are running other bank accounts dry.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes. Happy about it.
Yeah.
And this isn't what the conversation is right here, but let me give a little stop, right? One of our former platoon sergeants, right, and I have had this conversation plenty of times. And the conversation is, people will come up and say, I don't like a elected official, right? President, senator, whatever, right? I don't like this person. It's like, why? Because they're ruining the economy. Okay, let's break that down a little bit, right? First, the question that you should always ask is, who is your district state representative or state senator, right? And if you don't know who that is, then obviously you don't actually care about the politics. You care about having fun. Or you care about having a conversation or an opinion.
Yeah.
And then we go into, I'm a company commander, right? And this is the story that we ended up getting to because it's so accurate. I'm a company commander. I am the bottom lowest of almost have power in the federal government, right? I almost, like, if you look at Title 10, like, I can put people to death for missing movement. Like, I have authority. I ain't in charge of shit.
No,
I ain't in charge of nothing.
What do they call them? Like townships?
Yes.
You're like
I'm a municipal commissioner. Like, I'm not even a mayor yet, right?
Yeah.
So you look at that, and then if we're really talking about, this person's ruining the economy. When our company came back from Korea, and then the other company was going to Korea, right, on their deployment. When all that was happening, we had to get our equipment back to standard because of how everything happened, right? I don't want to go too much into detail. Somebody came to me and said, hey, we need a new transmission in this Humvee. And I said, we're going to order this transmission. How much is it? $7,000? Get it. Right. And we did everything absolutely right. Like, we didn't mess up anywhere with Army funding or anything like that. But when we did that, the crazy thing is the Army's getting rid of Humvees. So why are we repairing this transmission for it? Then the transmission, we wait 6, 7, 8 weeks, finally comes in. It's the wrong one.
I love it.
It is the wrong one. It's the right NSN, but it wasn't the right one. So what do? We have to give it back to the SSA and do what? Order the right one.
Yeah, after we get the refund on that one.
Hopefully get the refund. Because only certain NSNs are like, oh my goodness. So then I turn around and now I'm 15 grand in. Just as a company commander. As a company commander on one truck, I'm 12 weeks of, less optimal operation status or operating status.
Yeah.
Like, how much money, if we were really looking at this as a business, how much money did I just waste? How much? But I can look at, to my left and right and be like, oh, you guys have all done this too. Oh, okay. This is where it is. So everybody who's like, money in the Army is like the amount of money that the Army gets.
It's astronomical.
Oh my gosh.
What how it's separated, where it goes, what it's paid for is very political.
And finding the person who
Yeah.
can say, yes, I action that, or I authorize that to be action. Politics isn't even the word.
Yeah, and then they have those caps, right? It's like, oh, well, if you spend less than this amount of money, then we can do it this way, and it's less paperwork. But if you got to spend more than this, and
or if you go and ask that guy to do it because this is training stuff and it'll be in the ring, but if you ask us, and we can't because then we have to be able to. My gosh.
Yeah, so we're doing this, fight night. We're trying to put this on, and even just trying to get what was it, $4,000 we get for the belts?
It's in like 39.
Yeah, $3,900, which is just a ripple of water when it comes to Army funding. It was a task. I mean, it took us months, but we got it right. Yeah, and then, they paid for a DJ and they did some other stuff. And I'd say in the big scheme of things, for a very low amount of money, we threw a pretty big ass event.
4,000 people were in like real seats, and then however many people were behind us.
In the grass, people were coming, people were showing up. So we estimated trying to get, the big crowd. I was thinking maybe 1,000 people. I mean, by the time the first fight started, we had 3,000 people in attendance. Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody even went to the carnival rides. The poor lizard man in the back was, doing magic tricks by himself. It was pretty wild.
He was really cool though. He was a nice guy. He was a really nice guy.
No, he was definitely, for sure. But yeah, so we've had some amazing times. I know you very well, very personally. With your family, would work, we work together every day, but, all of the people that are going to see this, right, they're not really going to know who you are. They do from the stories, but what is something that people would assume about you when they first meet you that is completely wrong?
What did I actually say? Because there's like I'm going to tell you what just came to mind now, right? Because, I answer things in the moment. That's how when people first meet me, I tend to carry a serious face, and people will think that guy's, he's a butthead. I think people realize how much I care about individual success. Yeah. Like when I meet a person, whether I know you or not, like I look at you and I'm like, man, I want you to be happy because I want you to be happy. Like I want everybody to be happy. I want the world to be better when I go than when I meet them, right? And I will do almost anything, legal, moral, and ethical, to make somebody happy if I can support it. But I don't think people think that. But what did I actually say?
When you first came in? Or your first like, oh, this is what I want to, it was net worth, what was it? You said you want to have a net positive for the world. There's something you want to leave.
See, that kind of, okay, then it's the same thing. I want somebody, I feel like just because you were living, because you were a human being in this big blue or green marble that we call Earth that is going around the sun, even though we are so infinitesimally small, you matter.
Yeah.
And I just want everybody to know that they matter. But people look at me and they're like, oh, that's not really, either he's selfish or he's an asshole or whatever.
That's one thing that I want to do too. And I think as a first sergeant, I've taken the opportunity to do it. A lot of people are like, oh, first sergeant's out to make sergeant major. Not me. I'm talking about in general, because everybody knows I'm not taking sergeant major. All right. That's public.
He says it now.
I say it now. A lot of people, I think there's a betting line out there in the world on like people, if I'm going to do it or
what's
not.
the over under?
Yeah. What's the over under? Hey, I'm in the inside trading, boys. Go ahead and let me know. I'm going to hook you up. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so they, I think I took this opportunity as a first sergeant myself to better people, right, when I get a chance. And I think you talked about, right, when you leave the Army, you leave with those three things, right? Education, some money, right? And a little bit of credit. And I think that's something you've heard me say that before, right? People are like, oh, I'm getting out. I'm not re-enlisting. That's great. But please do what you need to do. I'm not saying the Army's end all be all, but in 4 years you've been in the Army, 5 years you've been in the Army, right in your first enlistment. Did you take advantage of college? No. So you left $4,000 a year on the table.
Yes.
That's $20,000 in 5 years.
Yep.
Dude, that'd be, if I lost $20,000, I'd cry.
Yep.
And like, I lost way more than $20,000. If you guys are calculating, I didn't start college until I was 15 years in the Army. So you all do the math, all right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
4,000 times 15. Don't make me do math in public.
That's a number I don't want to really, that makes me sick to my stomach, because at the same time I could have been way deep into something. But
that's not even counting like credentialing assistance.
Yes.
That's not counting like my CCA, right? Where you can give whatever credentialing or certifications to your spouse.
Yeah.
That's also not counting the fact that like people can join the Army just for being in the Army. You're going to get housing, go and buy a house, then leave from there. Like as long as you buy smart, you can get renters in there and always can, like there is just so much that you can get from the Army that people don't think about.
I try to tell people that, right, as when they first come in and stuff, like, hey man, invest in yourself, invest in your education, invest in money, like max out your TSP now. Because if you do that and you're used to getting that low amount of money, when you'll be good, right?
Yeah.
Because if I don't do that, and then I'm suddenly now I'm like, oh, I'm gonna max invest in this TSP. Well, mind you, I'm putting $700 a month into TSP.
Mm-hmm.
When I started doing that, boy, my check dropped quick.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about a shock, man.
Yeah.
You'll notice $700 not
Yes,
coming
you
in.
will.
And so if I had done that before, I wouldn't. If I had started in the beginning, and it's just a normal routine thing of putting $300-400 away every month, I would have never thought nothing of it, And so that's something I like to tell soldiers and everybody and their spouses is, hey man, you should definitely invest. I introduced you to my financial advisor that here, and I didn't introduce you because I'm like trying to be like, oh man, you should really help, go. She's great, go whatever. I just think it was more of like I wanted to see the soldiers, and you started talking to her. It's like that's just one tool in the world that will allow you to get further. Because I'm not an expert. I don't need to be in. I started this podcast and I told everybody I don't have all the answers. I have experience.
Yeah.
I have experience. I was the guy who took the moped, did a wheelie, hit the hot dog stand, and everything in life. I just didn't really do it. Metaphorically. I was came in, I'm a war baby. They told me to do one thing, is what? Kill the enemy. All right, man. That's what I did, and then I didn't do that anymore, and the Army changed, and I was like, man, what am I doing? I lost soul. Luckily, I have a lot of friends who kind of lost themselves in that world, and I don't think we're there with the people we have now, but I do want them to get what they can out of the Army.
And if you don't mind, let me, because that is a thing that I think is important for whoever listens to the sound of my voice right now. Understand, I don't care what anybody says, right? I don't, whatever television, social media influencer, anything like that you hear. Understand, there is no better military on the face of the earth today. I would wager to say in history than the current United States military, right? We are in a point in which, and I don't want to say war, and I'll tell you why in a second, combat, dedicated violence isn't necessarily the first thought of every soldier's mind anymore.
No, not at all.
Now, if you go back to the biggest wars in history, right? World War I, World War II, not everybody's on the front line. Not everybody can be a grunt. There's one, MOS in the Army, and there's 240 something ways to support it, whatever. Is what everybody always says, but there are people who join the Army today with the mindset of, I want college.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
You have to realize that you are joining the Army to get college. And that is where I have problems, right? Sergeant Major of the Army Weimer just recently, year or two ago, he was on a podcast and said something to the effect of, him as the Sergeant Major of the Army, long tabber, 100 billion trillion years in the Army, right? Like, been doing this. His first commander was probably George Washington because he's that old. I say that with love and respect.
Expert and a professional.
Expert and a professional, right? As a senior enlisted soldier in the United States Army today, he said that he has no war experience.
Yeah. I actually saw that. I remember it. Yeah.
And when people first saw that, if they just saw the clip where it was like, I only haven't had war experience, everybody's like, brother, what? But it's like, we haven't been at war. LSCO, large scale combat operations, hasn't happened. I would venture to say since like early Korea, but the people who are a lot smarter than me all say World War II, right? When it was a country who could theoretically do what we don't want them to do in our backyard.
1,000%.
We have not seen that in, I don't know how, 80-something, 90-soming years now.
I haven't even seen that. And I've been to war.
And you've been to war.
Yeah.
Like, you have put warheads on foreheads, put bullets into bad guys. And I have, for anybody who doesn't understand the joke, I'm a slick sleeve. Right?
Yeah.
As a slick sleeve, that means that I don't have a combat patch, which means that I have not gone forth and done, when I put this uniform, not this, but that uniform on, I am America's home or away team.
Yeah.
My job is to go forward, close width and distance for the enemy, destroy said enemy, and posture for stability operations to occur. That's the purpose of any ground force anywhere of any army, right?
Yeah, and us GWAT vets, it means that we went to Kuwait to green beans and then zeroed our weapons and entered Iraq and I got Popeyes on Sundays when I was in Iraq. That's why Popeyes is special to me. Come sponsor me.
Brought to you by Popeyes, home of. But yeah, I think that it's a very important conversation for people to have, in which we've talked about the abilities that the Army offers, the rewards that you can get for being a service member. If I broke my back in 2013. Right. Didn't know I broke it until 2021. Right. When they saw ossification. I don't actually know what these words mean, but they saw ossification. They said, oh man, you broke your back. When was the last time you had this traumatic? And I was like, so I'll probably get 100%. I'll probably get a lot of money when I get out, whether or not I retire. When I retire, I will be a major. I'll be an 04. I'll make good money for the rest of my life. My wife is also she's been to Afghanistan, but
Yeah.
she's I mean, she was Congo, let's be real. But
She also went to Green Beans in Kuwait.
yep, yep. We'll be getting benefits from the government because of the Army for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
But I don't want people to think that the benefits that people get is why you join.
Yeah, no, 100%.
There has to be a bigger reason.
And
you
the thing,
have to realize that you're going to be in danger to get these benefits.
no, you're good, but that's changed though, right? Because us, we're in the era of what we call now the top 3 or your highest 3.
Yes.
So like we're guaranteed. And I'm glad for that, right? Because as I said, I'm a slow starter, man. Like, I mean, the first 15 years of my career, I didn't do shit. So I never invested in TSP. I mean, I went through a divorce and lost everything I had, and it did all this stuff. And at the end of the day, I was lazy, and now I'm not. But at least I was smart enough to join the Army in the era of the top 3. So now I'm guaranteed my retirement. Now for the guys that are coming in now, it's more it's 401k. Was it the blend retirement plan where they actually have to invest in it, right? So, and this kind of goes out to the people who don't understand how the Army works. They think people join to get all these great benefits. Now, when you join, yeah, you get great benefits. You have to work for them. Yes, you have to invest just like you would anywhere else. If you're working anywhere, you got to do your John Hancock investment program. It's the same. The Army just has their version of the blended retirement. Yes. Is it good? Yeah, it's absolutely good. They match a lot. They do some great things for you.
You can get 6% for putting 3% in. Like,
phenomenal.
Any company would want,
So, yeah, 100%. Like, you did your time and the time you should have did it, and you're going to get to reap the benefits of that. I don't think anything's wrong with that. I think people just look at it and say, oh, blah, blah, blah. No, dude, we came in at a time when dude, you should have went to the recruiting center. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, brother.
You know what I'm saying? But
there's 150 career waiting you in the National Guard.
It's there's a lot of things, and I think it's a good. We've done our time. We've gone through a lot. At the same time, and for you guys out there, craziness. We currently work together. I didn't open with that, but I'm going to close with that because you should listen to this whole podcast. But we currently work together. I am a first sergeant for the company. He's the company commander. Yep. And through long days, long nights, and conversations, we've crossed paths since 2011. Never knew it. You were at Fort Meade.
Yep. Yeah. Because you left Meade then.
Yeah, but left Meade. You were at Meade.
We were at Meade at or around the same time. I think the next time we crossed was Korea during the story that I just told. Yeah. And then it would have been
Korea again.
You were at Korea when I left Korea the second time.
Korea times 2. Yeah, crossing paths. So we know a lot of the same people.
When I was in XO the second time, we were both in the 18th or 16th MP Brigade.
Yep.
Because I was up in Drum and you were down there in Georgia living life.
Yeah, you were in the cold. I was in the sun.
Yeah,
no, we've crossed paths a lot, and for us to come back and to now be a command team is pretty cool, right? Stars on. You said you're a man of faith, right? You're a man of faith, and I do applaud you for that. I was reading through some of their stuff, and you talk about a man of faith, and I think things happen for a reason. I think people cross paths for a reason. I think it's a higher. I just am not able to say I'm a man of faith, and I don't say it in a bad way. I haven't had that moment. You know what I mean? Like I don't regularly go to church, and I do believe in God. I believe in like higher power, 100%. I haven't had that moment. So for somebody to say I'm a man of faith, I'm a man of God is pretty cool. It's something that's unknown to me. So I do applaud you for that, and I think it's amazing. I think people are now more coming to that, and it's good.
Yeah. I mean, I think. If you look at my story, I'm a dude from Northeast Ohio who grew up broke.
God's country.
God's country. Yeah. All right, the best country in the United States, Ohio. I grew up in Northeast Ohio broke. I met my dad when I was a little bit older, and then I got arrested a few times as a kid. I've ruined my career, so quote unquote. And then I came back. Like through all of these things, I look at it and I say, yeah. I mean, I definitely did my part in that. Like I was the cause of my actions or whatever. Like I'm not trying to throw that out, but like there is no. I ended up marrying my wife because when I called her and said, apparently I called her drunk while I was in the jail cell, and I was like, from Korea, I was like, babe, I'm drunk. And she was like, what do you mean you're drunk? And I was like, I'm also in jail. She was like, you're joking, because she was back here in Campbell. She was at Campbell. And I hung up. I FaceTimed her. I was like, see, I told you I ain't lying. And then apparently I hung up and turned my phone off, right? Like she tells me the story. I don't remember any of that.
Yeah.
But, when I called her sober, right? So I called her and I was like, hey, man, this is kind of what happened. She was like, yeah, I talked to John and all this stuff. And what do we do? And I said, girl, you loyal, right? So I go back to all that, like, understanding her loyalty and being like, man, I'm going to marry this woman. Now we have 2 more beautiful children, the beautiful child that we had in the beginning. Like being able to help my sister, my degrees, whatever it is. I'm not good or smart enough to be that was all me. Like that right there is why I believe.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why I have faith. That's why I walk with Jesus. But that's my story.
And I think it's great, man. I think it's a story that's phenomenal. It's why I wanted you to be here in the first episode, the inaugural episode, and the very first one. And, like I said in the beginning, the most important part is I think you have a story that's worth being heard. Right?
Thank you.
And I think it's something that a lot of people can grow from. But in closing, though, I want to ask you a question, right? When you look back on your life in years from now, what will make you feel like you fulfilled your purpose?
I'll be the president of the United States. No,
I mean,
that's a goal, right?
That is a goal.
I think political service is just a continuation of what I'm doing in the military. But I think the reason why I want to be, a higher level politician, right? I will be the governor of Ohio. Want to be the president.
If you're in Ohio, get ready to vote.
Hey, let's go Buckeyes.
About 7 years.
Yeah, let's go Buckeyes. But the reason I want to do all that is the same reason why I wanted to join the Army in the first place. And it is because I want to put people in position to be better. I worked on a presidential campaign when I was in college, and through that I saw a vice president come in, and there was the whole rigmarole of, you were PSD, you understand that. So we had to go through the security thing. But once this vice presidential candidate or this vice president sitting went to it was an ice cream parlor in the middle of Ohio. There were so many people that were just around that wanted to go where that vice president was. He came out, did his little photo shoot, and licked his ice cream, whatever. And, that people, I don't even know that person is still liked, right? I'm not talking anything about politics itself. I'm talking about with just licking an ice cream cone and having that picture be taken for the newspaper. I talked to that business owner after he left.
Phenomenal.
My God.
Yeah.
He made so much money. And I'm not saying all this is about money, but in politics, you can do for people in just being present.
100%.
Turning around and, then, hey, let me advocate for this small nation so that their, 2 million people can have access to clean drinking water. That is what success would look like to me when I'm sitting at that table with my son, his son, and their son.
Yeah.
When my daughter has her family and they're over for Christmas and we're all talking and it's, damn, dad's a good guy.
Yeah.
We're all going to die. And when we die in that first, couple weeks, it's when they stand over the casket, nobody says anything mean. But then it's a couple years later and it's this asshole. Mm-hmm. I just don't want to be this asshole. So I think that's my.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's plenty of people out there that don't like me, and that's okay. I think the ratio of not like to like is I'm liked a little more than I'm disliked. So yeah. I can live with that. But I think I'm the same thing, right? At the end of the day, in the dark and the whispers of your name, I want to know them say, hey, not that I was the best guy. I don't want to be the best guy. I just want to be the guy who if I came to him, he helped me out.
It happened. Yeah.
And sometimes that help out does not mean that I gave you what you want.
Right. Yeah.
And that is the hardest time to tell if you need, and I think something we both have found out is having to tell somebody hey, maybe you don't need to be doing this. Yeah. Maybe you need to be somewhere else, and that's what's best for you. Yeah. I think that's the key.
Not every soldier needs to stay a soldier. Yeah. And telling them that is kind of not easy.
It's not. But hey, man, I enjoy having you on. I really appreciate it. It's been a phenomenal time. Where can we find you at? I know, it's a social media world, right? Is there anything reach out? How can people find you?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm at 477 on LinkedIn. So, I just need that, I'm not doing the quick math, but I need less than 25 people to be a 500 plus person on LinkedIn. But the name is Branton Henry. Hopefully you can find me on your local ballot box one day. But
future president.
Yeah.
No, man, I think keep doing what you're doing for the world, man. Make the world a better place. And I do appreciate having you on here, man. It's been real. Absolutely. And, I'm sure I'll have you on again because I know we got stories for days. I think we've told 1/8 of what's going on.
I haven't even told him how I got fired from Walmart. Yeah, you gotta have me back now. You gotta have me back now.
So you guys got to stay tuned because Branton Henry he's going to be a regular on here because the stories are phenomenal, guys. I promise you. We've gotten the stuff that me and you've gotten into,
brother.
And it's only been a year actually.
Really?
It was a year the other day.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a year the other day, and I'm like, man, the amount of crap that my whole life has been like that. That's why I keep bringing people on here. Every time I get around somebody, some crazy shit happens.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I do appreciate you guys listening in. This is Cauliflower Chronicles. There's going to be a whole lot more to come. Thanks, guys.